So, hello everyone who's signed in as an attendee so far. Thank you for being prompt on time. We'll give a couple of minutes for some of the other students who have signed up, and we'll begin. We'll begin the presentations in 2 minutes. Okay, I think we can get started at least with the introduction here. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tom Bartnick. I'm the director of the Franco Harris Pittsburgh Center at Penn State. So, for those of you who don't know about the center, we are part of Penn State Outreach, and what we do is we work to connect faculty and students with local community stakeholders to co-create meaningful impact across the greater Pittsburgh area. And I'm happy to kick off this inaugural webinar of our series that we're calling Careers in Action, Insights from Industry Pros in Pittsburgh. And so this is in collaboration with Exus Renewable Energies, which is headquartered here in Pittsburgh. We actually happen to be in the same building as the Energy Innovation Center. And while that's a photo behind me, that's basically the view from our offices. So all you students want to come visit the center, you're more than welcome to check it out. So I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So we've got this set up as a webinar format, so all attendees are muted. Roughly, the presentation is each. We have three speakers from Exus. This is obviously focused on engineering. So we have Modi, Mason Clark, and Avram Enriquez. So we're really appreciative of them taking the time to share their experiences with you. And what we'll each of them will speak for within a 15-minute window. We'll do a little bit of Q&A immediately after each speaker, maybe take a couple of questions. And then at the end, we'll have roughly 15 minutes to have broader general questions. So if you have any questions along the way, at any point along the way, please put them in the Q&A. We'll handle as many questions as we can after each speaker, and then others that we didn't get to, we'll get to at the end. So with that, I am going to kick it over to Modi to start the presentation.
Yep. My screen here. You guys see my screen all right? Looks good.
Okay. Yep, you're good.
All right. Thank you, Tom. So we are Exus Renewables North America, and we have three of us here. My name's Modi. I'm a performance engineer, and I also have my two colleagues, Avram and Mason. First, what we wanted to do is kind of just give you an overview of what Exus does. We like to say that we're transforming North America's renewable energy future. What do we actually do? Who are we? We own, develop, repower, and manage utility-scale renewable energy projects, driving sustainable growth and advancing the clean energy transition in the United States. The three of us here, work in the operations department, specifically technical operations, and that side focuses on the owning and managing the renewable energy projects. The types of energy, the They are solar, wind, battery. And then we also kind of have two sides of our business. We have a third party asset management where there's companies like IKEA or Nestle who own assets but aren't traditionally renewable companies, and we go in and manage their assets. And then we also own our own assets that we also provide the same fleet of products for. So where are we located? Like Tom mentioned, we're located in Pittsburgh and our headquarters is here. We also have offices in New York City and Albuquerque, and I believe that number 90 is, I believe we've actually hit 100 employees now. Growing so fast, we can't keep up here. And I just want to kind of give you guys a visual of where our assets are located. So this is our third-party asset management portfolio. Again, like I mentioned, like the Nestle's, our IKEAs, who own the assets, and then we go in and manage them for them. And you can kind of see they're all located in North America, some in Canada, mostly in the United States. There's a lot in Texas. And the other part of our business is the IPP portfolio. IPP stands for Independent Power Producer. That's assets that we own. And you can see there's kind of a split between assets in development or in operations. Development being assets that will be in operations in the future that still need to be constructed and are in some early phases. I just want to make a quick call out. We have a bunch of wind sites in Pennsylvania that we own, and then also solar assets in New Mexico, plus a solar plus battery asset, which is like a coupled site. So now you have kind of a brief overview of what Exus does. I kind of want to give you an idea of what I do. So my official title is performance engineer, and I kind of want to give you a background of where I was before I got to Exus. So I studied at Purdue University. I got a bachelor's in aeronautical and astronautical engineering, graduated in May of 2024, and this is my first full-time job out of college. When I was in school, I had an astrodynamics focus, so kind of the trajectory of spacecraft, and I did a lot of data analysis intensive projects using Python, MATLAB, and also design work and lab work, AutoCAD, things like that. Some of the projects I did is my senior design project. We kind of had to develop a satellite system and design that system to meet mission requirements. And my part of that was developing data analysis scripts to optimize the performance of that system and make sure we meet requirements and are cost effective, things like that. Some of my early career, my internships in school, I was actually an intern at Exus in the summer of 2022. I was a performance engineering intern. And then I was doing some project work at the time, working with kind of the existing tool sets that they already had and kind of enhancing them or kind of making them more scalable. So I was translating MATLAB workflows into Python and trying to, Python's a free tool for everyone to use. MATLAB's not. So we can transition that and kind of scale it. And then also creating automated workflows using APIs, which gather data from the sites to enhance our tool sets for broader integrations. And then the summer of 2023, I was an IT data governance intern at Bausch & Lomb, which is an eye care company. They sell eye products. There, I was creating, testing, and reviewing AI-enabled apps. This was kind of the early stages of ChatGPT and Copilot and those large language models. And people were trying to really figure out how we can leverage them for the workspace. So I was kind of working to develop some apps intended for work use. And I was kind of just throwing ideas out there. We wanted to see what are the possibilities with AI. Some of the other projects I worked on there, I created like a KPI insights dashboard. There's a lot of data flowing for like a medical sales company when they're selling a lot of products. So I wanted to create a visual that was easily digestible, doing that using all the data that was coming in. So it's kind of similar work to what I had done before. And then other thing I did was automation for large SharePoint lists. There's a lot of workflows that were leveraging SharePoint that had emailers and like workflows attached to that, and automating that process to remove the manual aspect of it was part of my job. And then in the summer of 2024, I joined Exus full time. So what do I actually do now? I'm a performance engineer that focuses on our solar and battery assets. So I have to monitor those assets. And I just want to point out, like I mentioned before, we had the two sides of the business. There's no distinction. Monitor and do my job for all of those independent that we own or third party. I identify underperformance. That's kind of the main function of my job is to identify underperformances at the sites. If something's not producing as much as it should, we need to figure out why. And to do that, I create and use analytic tools. And there's kind of some examples here on the side, and I'll get into in a little bit. And the main goal is to create actionable insights to optimize the site performance, and so that we can communicate to the site personnel what is going on, how we can fix it, and making sure that's the most efficient process as possible. And like I mentioned, I think a lot of my work is being able to use and create these analytic tools. And we have a suite of tools called Exus IQ Plus that we can apply to our assets. And here's some examples that I've either created or use right now. The solar sites have a lot of devices that kind of feed into the full system. There's inverters, combiner boxes, trackers, things like that. So we need to be able to monitor each of those. But when there's these large sites, there's a lot of devices, and it's difficult to sift through every piece of data because you're getting 1 minute data. So in order to efficiently do that work, we have to create these tool sets, and like you see here. So one of the ones is a combiner box and inverter monitoring tool that we've created, an anomaly detection tool, which kind of figures out what normal looks like for the site. And then from there, if anything is deviating from that, it flags it and efficiently tells us like, hey, this looks like it's off. And then we can easily look into it and make the call outs to the sites. And another tool I created was a shading and tracking analysis tool. All these larger solar assets now will have trackers that track the sun, obviously. But we need to make sure those trackers are working properly. And there's kind of two aspects to that. Are the trackers working properly? And then if they are working, are they optimized to work the best they can? Because solar panels can shade each other, and that can reduce power output. And then some of my other job functions, I kind of quantify lost production events. If an inverter at a site happens to go down, how much energy do we lose because of that? I also help out with reporting obligations, which I know Mason will talk about, but we have reporting obligations for our assets and kind of month-end reports and saying, hey, this is how we performed. And I kind of layer on commentary and say, these are the issues, or this is what we need to address, and this is what was addressed, things like that. And then what I wanted to do is I kind of want to give a few key takeaways that I've had in my early career here. Obviously, you guys saw my major was not related to the first job I got. And I think that was a kind of quick turning point and had made me learn quickly on the job. I had to be adaptable to the industry, and I had to quickly learn my new role. And I'd say the two main things with that was that the curiosity I had paid off. Asking questions and just reading things on my own helped a lot and opened a lot of learning opportunities, and also helped me grow quickly and as fast as possible. And the other thing that was kind of eye-opening was that skills do translate, and that may be technical skills, but also the softer skills like problem solving and the communication, and those types of skills do translate across industries wherever you are. Like technical skills, I had used Python for data analysis in the past, right? But it also is tangentially related, so I'm able to apply that here. And then also the problem solving, like attitude for engineers, it's very applicable anywhere you go. So that was a little bit about me. I have some time for some questions here if we have anything.
Okay, so there's no questions in the Q&A, but we have a reasonable sized group where I can, if anybody, rather than typing it into the Q&A, does anybody, if you raise your hand and have a question, I can call on you and unmute you and you can talk. So first one's first. While I'm waiting for that, I do have a question. So, in terms of your physical location, do you do most of the analysis remotely? Is there ever a situation where you're out in the field?
I'm usually just doing the analysis remotely. We have the data gathering from the sites coming to us, so for our analytics to be layered on. So rarely would have to go to the sites to do the actual analysis. It's all kind of done after the fact.
Okay. All right. I'm not seeing any questions right now. If you do have questions, just raise your hand. Or wait, sorry, somebody did type in one here. Okay. So here's a question. I'm currently a sophomore studying mechanical engineering. I'm not exactly decided on what specification I'm interested in. So, what steps should I take at this career in my point?
I would, so for me, I would kind of explored every opportunity that I had. I was studying aerospace engineering, but I kind of had experiences in different industries as I was doing internships in the summers. And that kind of helped me shape and kind of get an idea of what I wanted to do and where to apply my skills. And you kind of have the ability to do that. So if you aren't sure, I think maybe even reaching out to individuals that are in industries that you're interested in, that could be very helpful to get an idea of what they do, and then see if you're interested in that. And then also even getting work experience with that is extremely helpful as well.
Okay, one more for students so a little similar vein, for students who may not be quite ready to apply for an internship, what recommendations do you have for them to get experiences that would be helpful to them to be strong candidates when they're eligible to apply for the internships that Exus offers?
Yeah, I mean, definitely toning in on the technical skills is something that would be extremely beneficial. That's It could be maybe directly related or tangentially related. Like there's coding softwares that you might be using already in school and may not have experience with Python, for example. Uh, Being able to have those like problem solving skills and being able to show that you can apply them somewhere is very powerful, even if you're not ready for internships just yet. So I would say that's the best way to go about that.
Okay. Okay, so Deval, I'm going to allow you to there. You should be able to talk.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add, Tom, thank you for having us in the first place. But, the other options that we have, and Tom, we talked to you directly about it for students, is some kind of job shadowing option, right? Where, you guys can come in, you can look over Ohm's shoulder on what he does on day-to-day basis. So we do offer that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the other companies offer some kind of job shadowing function where you can actually sit and sit next to a lot of these engineers and figure out what they do on day-to-day basis and see if that is something that you like, right? I mean, we offered that a few times where students would come in, where the summer break for like a week, just to see what a week and Ohm's life is like, or Mason's life and so forth. So I think that's another opportunity where you can take and explore to see if there is job shadowing out there available before you get into a full-blown internship program.
Yeah, thanks so much. And for the audience, Deval is head of operations for Exus, and again, Deval, I want to thank you and your team for agreeing to do this. I think it's proving to be very valuable already. I have one more question before we move on to the next speaker, and the question is: are internships possible for those who just graduated?
I'm not, well, for Exus specifically, I'm not too sure, or honestly, I'm not too sure. I guess it depends on the companies. Exus, I'm honestly not too sure. Uh, Potentially, yes. I'm not the right person to ask, honestly.
Okay, Deval, you.
Yeah, Deval might have an
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, no, so we have done that, yes. So we have actually had Penn State students who actually just graduated that ended up with an internship and then eventually a full-time job with us directly. So yes, internships are available for those who just graduated.
All right, great. And then just one comment in the Q&A from Sarah Krupp, who she's the Western Pennsylvania career uh, uh, Penn State careers person for all of Penn State Western Pennsylvania campuses. So she's just saying, if you're a Penn State student, strongly recommend that you connect with the Penn State Engineering Alumni Society. They have alumni mentors that are available to assist you in that exploration piece and also assist with networking. So, all right. Thanks for those questions. There'll be time for more. So, okay, we'll continue with the presentations.
Okay, I'll pass it on to Mason here.
Awesome. Okay. Well, hello. I'm Mason Clark. I'm the technical writer in the group. I graduated from the University of Mary Washington in 2024 with a major in theater and physics with a minor in musical theater performance. And I suppose you might be thinking, how in the world did I get into renewable energy? And you might think that physics is the link, but you can move on to the next slide. When I say physics, I really mean I was in theoretical quantum mechanics. So, I mean, maybe a little bit related to renewable energy on some level, but not super related. You can move on to the next slide. I initially wanted to get a PhD in quantum mechanics. The reason is that I really love analyzing data, and when I would write a paper in physics, I had enjoyed trying to distill really technical terms into actionable insights for other folks. And because I had only majored in physics, I kind of thought that was the only place I could do something like that. But before signing up for the next 6 to 7 years of my life, I figured maybe there's somewhere else I can explore. So I applied to over 100 jobs in data analytics and really anything with analytics in the title, business analytics, financial analytics. And eventually, about 8 months ago, I landed my first full-time job as well here at Exus. You can move on to the next slide. So my role as a technical writer in an official capacity is report writing. So mentioned that we have a lot of assets that we manage, and what we do is the entire company works very hard to manage these sites over the month, and then the folks who have poured a lot of money into these projects would like to know, how are they doing? Did it work? Did we produce energy this month? And that's where these reports come in. We want to take the very technical and day-to-day operations and communicate that to stakeholders. So on the right, there's a very fancy little graphic. We have lots of raw data to include operations. That's everything from outage logs, which Owen was talking about, as well as was the wind blowing this month for our wind farm? That's a very relevant piece of information. And there are lots of other departments we gather data from. One is the commercial department. So once a utility site produces energy, the energy has to go somewhere, and it's not always the same price. That prices for energy can fluctuate throughout the day, such as when everyone's at work during the day, they don't have their house lights on. But when they go home and everyone turns on the lights, all of a sudden the demand for energy grows and energy can be sold for different prices. So that's very relevant for how much revenue a utility site can gather in a month, as well as accounting. Accounting is so very in-depth, I don't think I could even begin to describe it here today, but there's a lot of very technical terms that go into it, and this all has to be distilled into a monthly report, which is where I and Sabna, who is not on this call, but she's another technical report writer here. So a lot of what we do is organizing data flows. We have all of this data. We have to not only understand it, but make sure it can flow easily into a report, no matter what format it's given to us in. And a lot of help has come from automations. In undergrad, I worked a lot in Python, but a lot of automation things I've learned have been on the job, working in Power BI, Power Automate, and lots of other advanced Excel methods to be able to make these very detailed reports. And importantly, automations not only make my job easier, but it means I can spend more time double checking my work instead of asking for everyone for further clarifications. So automations can be really accessible and useful. You can move on to the next slide. But that's only half my job. Dun, dun, dun. The part that I really enjoy about my job is that the report writing is towards the end of the month. The other half, I get to be beta version. I get to be one of the other performance engineers, sort of. And as said, for performance engineering, our goal is to preserve the long-term health of an energy site. These sites, we want them to stick around for over 35 years. And if we weren't there monitoring these sites, issues can slowly build up over time, and they wouldn't last the full lifetime if there weren't performance engineers like us keeping an eye on some of these. So when we want to understand underperformance or improve performance, it's really so these sites can stay healthy and continue producing clean energy. And the physics part of me that really loves this kind of work is the exploratory learning. So using the skills that we have, Python, Power BI, and using detailed spreadsheets, it's all part of our Exus IQ Plus initiative to take the unbelievable amount of data in our servers and use it to improve our sites in any way we can. You can move on to the next slide. I have a handful of examples here that were successful and have pretty images, so I figured they'd be good for a presentation here today. One is our Lightning Plus emailers. So the problem we were facing is that when lightning strikes at a wind site, for instance, obviously lightning is very bad for turbines. They don't like it very much. It can fry electronics and cause lots of issues. So some sites which have over 100 turbines, site folks have to go out there and check every single individual turbine. And sometimes there are places in the US that get lightning strikes every single day. So that is a lot of man hours into checking all of this. So instead, what we wanted to do is there's an API weather service where we gather potential lightning strikes. And using a little bit of lightning physics and a little bit of Python coding, we created these Lightning Plus emailers. So that picture there is a picture of one of our wind turbine sites. And each of those little circles represents the 99.9% confidence that a lightning strike landed in that zone. So instead of blindly checking every single turbine, we can say, hey, here's a list of ones that are quite possible got struck. And that not only reduces the amount of man hours spent on this, but it also means that we can be more precise. And that's because if a turbine were hit by lightning and it weren't caught, in the moment, maybe it's a couple $1,000s to repair it. But if that issue isn't caught and a blade falls off, that could be $500,000 in damages down the line. So that's another tool that we want to use to ensure the long-term health of a site. Another one that we've built is a live northern misalignment analysis dashboard. So that picture there is actually the same site, and those arrows represent where the turbine thinks the wind is blowing. The way it knows that is there's one of those little weather stations on top that tells you, but when a turbine is set up, the site personnel go out there and they have a app on their phone that tells them where north is, and they plug that into the turbine. That it's not super precise, and miscalculations can absolutely happen. In this case, wind speeds were about 20 miles per hour. And if you know anything about fluid dynamics, turbines that close to one another, it is not physically possible for turbines that close to each other to have wind speeds pointing in the opposite directions, which means that we can almost guarantee that there is a sensor issue happening there. And that issue can lead to a cascade of other problems. So if we didn't have monitoring dashboards like these, we wouldn't be able to catch this and inform site personnel. And luckily, this is a very specific issue. So we can say, hey, we should go resolve this. So that's another great example. And then one that I've been working on, I haven't quite told my colleagues about this one, is icing forecasts for wind turbines. So for wind turbines, their blades are highly specialized, so they will catch the wind. But maybe they don't work so well when they're covered in ice or have icicles hanging off of them. And it'd be really great if we knew perhaps a forecast in the next week or so when events like this might happen. And using that same weather API, we've started building some dashboards that can talk about the potential for snow. And that's actually, I took a screenshot of that just a couple of days ago. So if you know anyone in, I think it's Alberta, Canada, you should tell them that it's going to snow around noon tomorrow. That's what that dashboard says, about 3 inches. So a lot of really cool dashboards with the data that we have here at Exus. You can move on to the next slide. So I hope the key takeaways that you guys get are that I didn't major in renewable energy, and the physics I learned wasn't even related at all. But the skills that I learned from my experiences in undergrad, like communication, which has really helped with my reporting obligations, as well as a love for problem solving and hard skills in that with physics, has allowed me to succeed in this industry, which has obviously been really, really enjoyable. So my official little tagline at the end is that building your skill set will lead to opportunities you didn't even know of. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Mason. I think that your closing point there is spot on, because you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes there's a lot of surprises along your career that you never would have connected the dots if you tried to do it intentionally. Okay, just opening up for a few questions, whether you want to raise your hand or type it into the Q&A. And while I'm waiting to see if any hands or questions are going to come in, Mason, I'll ask you a question. What's the most surprising thing about your job? The thing that you didn't expect that you'd be doing when you started working for Exus?
Yeah, the most surprising thing was that there is a lot of room for exploration. When I imagined a 9 to 5, I was told everything I had to do, and I just pressed the buttons, and that was the work. But something I really enjoyed in physics is that there was a problem to solve, and we were given the room to explore all the avenues, find the best solution, find the best ways to communicate it. And at this team in Exus, I've really found a home for that. That all those tools from before, they were vague ideas that we had, like, hey, we have these lightning strikes. What can we do with that? And so the way that that's shown and the way that the data works on the back end was all my work. And so there was a lot more freedom than I was expecting.
Great. That's always good news. Um, okay. Any other questions out there? Come on, don't be shy. This is your opportunity. Okay. Well, you can still plug in your questions now or wait to the end. But feel free to plug those questions in as things are going along, as things come to mind. So, not seeing any additional questions. Let's move on.
Oh, all right. Hi, everyone. My name is Avram Enriquez, and I am currently an operations engineer here at Exus. Next slide, please. Currently, my job sits between data engineering and DevOps, sort of data architecture and automation. I design end-to-end systems that help our company track compliance, operations, and performance. I've built and maintained data tools like databases, API wrappers, and secure vaults. Those examples, as you can see in the pictures below, that empower people to get the data that they need and when they need it and how they need it. I manage backend workflows to keep our renewable energy portfolio's data accurate, automated, and always available. Some hard skills I use, Python, some HTML, knowledge of cloud computing platforms, specifically Azure, SQL and data storage concepts like databases, data/Delta lakes, slight difference, version control systems like Git, GitHub, SharePoint, Power Automate, and really just the whole Microsoft Office suite, as well as some renewable energy domain knowledge just from working in the industry, the things you learn, what certain clients want, what certain things like the transmission grid would need, things like that. Next slide, please. A little bit about my education and career. I graduated from Drexel University in Philadelphia with a Bachelor of Science in Business and Engineering, specifically Mechanical Engineering and Technology Management. I did a bunch of co-op and research during my time at university. My first co-op was like an AutoCAD co-op working with a civil engineering firm. Product lifecycle defect management co-op with Comcast. I did some research when I was doing some study abroad in Japan at Tohoku University, studying some freshwater sponges. And then I also did a co-op with Sunoco, doing some petroleum scheduling for their New York and Pennsylvania terminals. Now, how I got here at Exus, my first job out of college, I actually worked at Argo AI, was another local company here in Pittsburgh. They were working on autonomous vehicles. 2 years later, unfortunately, the company shut down. It was tough, but it forced me to sort of rethink my direction and where I wanted to head. During my time unemployed, I spent it really just deep diving into Python, GitHub, text editors, integrated text editors like VS Code, databases, experimenting with things like machine learning. On the bottom right, you can see the book that I actually started with to actually like get myself to this point. Eventually, I got an interview, landed at Exus, and now I build automation systems for renewable energy. Some twists and turns that I found out during my career. My career path wasn't very linear. I don't think a lot of people's are. I really didn't know what path to take for a long time. I moved across different industries and companies, startups to large organizations, as you can see. Um, Yet every single step that I took gave me a skill, whether hard or soft, that I still use to this day. Oh, next slide, please. I wanted to just kind of end it with a couple key takeaways here. I figured this is kind of the most important. The first thing, some unprompted support. First of all, I know you haven't really graduated yet, but I just want you to know that your degree is just another starting point. It may be your goal now, but it is not your final goal, nor is it your limit. You have permission to change. You have permission to evolve. Some future advice. Uh, the common goal of supporting a cause or organization often creates unexpected opportunities for connection. Learn to recognize them. And finally, a proactive tip, put care in everything you do. Whatever you choose, do it with full intent. Uh, I feel like with the last one, even if you're not sure what you're doing or where you're going, as long as you're putting care and intent into it, I'm sure you will find your way. And that's it.
Okay, thanks, Avram. Let's see. I thought I saw somebody with their hand raised here. I'm looking for it. Sorry, bear with me here. Okay, Sarah, was that you? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Sorry, we got a couple of. All right. So Avram, this question is for you. Was your interview or interviews technical?
No, not for X's. This one was, there was some slight showing of what I knew, but no real sort of like technical interview or testing.
Okay. And then here's a question for everyone. You guys often work with other departments within this company.
Oh, apologies. Didn't realize that was the end. We do, yes. One of the things we've really been trying to do is put a lot of our data together. We've been trying to work more within different departments so that we have our data interconnected. Because right now we're really looking at the data within each department. But there's a lot more that can be done when you put them all together. There's a lot more that you could find out, that you could discover and analyze. So that's something we're actively trying to do.
Yeah, and for me, yeah, I definitely do work a lot with the different departments. A lot of our work is directly related with the commercial department that Mason had mentioned. If I'm coming up with the energy figure that we either lost or that we're going to generate, I want to get an idea of what is it actually going to generate in revenues, things like that. It's definitely cross-functional.
And then mine, because of those reports, I sort of talk with everybody. So the answer is absolutely yes. There's a lot of folks that we talk with.
So I'm gonna add the comment that one of the things that surprises me the most about this presentation is that whenever I think of engineers, for the most part, I'm thinking, okay, engineers are technical, they've got their, they've got a path. It's a beeline. There's, it's binary decisions. I'm here or I'm not. And what I'm hearing from the three of you is that you've each had interesting pathways to your careers. And I'm going to put Jim on the spot. I'm going to unmute you, Jim, and allow you to talk. So from someone who's hiring personnel, can you talk about what it's like for you to look at somebody that says, oh, well, this may not be your typical engineering candidate, or it may not be the, sort of the poster child for this particular position. What are the considerations that you take when you're looking at at potential employees who have a little bit different backgrounds that might not be as traditional as you think they are in engineering?
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Just speaking personally, I came from the same kind of background where, I've gone through, I'm a lot older than the guys that were speaking before, but I went on very different career path. But one of the most important things, is really how can you explain yourself, your skills, your interests, what value you could bring to the company in the interview process, and really, kind of the soft personal skills too, like how, I personally, a big factor for me is evaluating somebody's ability to work in a team, how they communicate. If it's clear communications, if if things are hesitant or not sure on answers, that is a factor in hiring, especially in a technical area. Clear, concise, responses that make sense and that show your interest, shows your motivation. Those type of things are just as important as your technical background. To me, you can gauge. Somebody can have, like I've mentioned before, you can have straight A's or perfect SAT score, or excel greatly in school, but if you can't communicate or you don't show interest, that's a big factor in the hiring process as well. And the ability to me, we work with a lot of shareholders or stakeholders as well, and that are not technical. The ability to describe, maybe more technical concepts, especially in the engineering field, in science, basically in general, the ability to describe and explain principles where that pretty much anybody can understand, or you know quickly explain issues or concerns or challenges or solutions to upper level management quickly and in a way that you can bring the point across pretty quickly. They're everybody's pressed on time. Their time is critical, so we want to bring across presentations and ideas that make sense to everybody and quickly. But those are the things I look for. We have screening process. If you make it to an interview, you've already made it through probably 1 or 2 or 3 levels of screening. There's every company, at least I know we do quite a bit, like for our interns, even the intern positions, there's quite a bit of screening before somebody even talks to you. So if you made it that to a point of an interview, you've already made it through several layers of vetting and screening. So the next part is up to each individual. That's where you need to impress upon the company or the manager, the hiring manager, what your real interests are. And the motivation is a big thing that I look for, that others look for. Is it somebody who's really motivated in whatever it is, whatever field or specific area you're looking in. The ability to communicate, like I said, and just to show interest, like you're going to bring value to the company and develop as an employee.
Great. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate you letting me put you on the spot.
Absolutely. No problem.
So we have a question for everybody. This question is, I appreciate you talking about how you spent your time unemployed. What successes or failures did you have when trying to find a new job opportunity? What platform strategies, et cetera, did you use to find work?
Avram, do you want to go first?
I suppose. It was difficult. Um, a lot of what I learned in the previous job was in-house. A lot of skills were for specific software that only that company really had. That's when I kind of realized I needed to kind of expand. Um, soft skills are always important, but hard skills are definitely what gets you through the door.
I'll say, I guess, kind of my job search because I did have some time before after I graduated before I started was, keeping like connections of people that you have worked with in the past. Like I was an intern at Exus and then got back in because I kept the connections from when I was here before, and then also probably reaching out to individuals that you have like that you're interested in their position or something that related to what they do. People like talking about themselves. So if you ask them questions about what they do and any advice that they might have, they might give you something really good and kind of help you out they and tell you what you need to know to like get in the door.
I completely agree with what Ohm said. What I initially did was I reached out to my school's alumni association and was asking them, hey, what are some of the hard skills I should get if these are the kinds of positions I'm looking for? And I ended up coming in contact with a couple of folks who gave me a couple of ideas. And what I did was I started building some projects and working on those skills. And that really made me a much better candidate. But I will say, I mean, I mentioned that I applied to over 100 jobs that it's just like applying to internships. It's not easy and it's not fun, but in general, it has nothing to do with you. That me getting into Exis, it was really right place, right time, and for a lot of folks, that's also the case. And so, when at some point you guys are applying for internships and jobs, uh, I say try not to take it personally, but it's that I got 5 interviews from my 100 applications, and one of them was in fact a multi-level marketing scheme, so really 4. So it is a difficult search, but that's because it is difficult, not because you guys aren't great candidates. So 2-parter.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not always about you. It is a challenging thing to do. Um, all right, I'm looking. I'm not. Anybody want to raise their hand or ask another question here? While I let you guys think that over, I guess I'll just maybe give you each a little bit of time to maybe add some parting advice or some other words of wisdom that maybe you'd like to add for the students out there.
Yeah, I can go first there. You guys probably saw from all 3 of our stories on how we got to Exis and our kind of career paths that there was a lot of twists and turns, and it wasn't like a direct shot to, hey, we studied in college that we want to work in renewables, and then we got internships in renewables, and then now we're working in renewables. That's just not how it went. And there's definitely twists and turns, and I'd say kind of take opportunities as you get them because you might not know what you'll get out of it. I kind of had to kind of just jump at different opportunities when I was looking for internships because that was what was available. And because of that, I ended up in a place where I actually enjoy my career and didn't realize it wasn't really like wasn't, I didn't major in it or I had something completely else planned. And because of that, because I kept an open mind and was curious about like, hey, what if I get an internship in renewables, see how I like it. It was very, very helpful. So keep an open mind and take opportunities when you get them.
I absolutely second that. I'll answer sort of one of the questions that happened in the chat. Was a valuable skill that as engineers you can learn to translate into other fields. And even though I didn't major as an engineer, I think you mentioned in your slide, it's about curiosity. And because you found yourself in a job that wasn't even on your radar, I mean, you had to learn a whole host of new things. But for a lot of our projects, some of the ones I mentioned, like Lightning Plus, if I didn't know how to code in Python, then that project would look absolutely different. It wouldn't be representative of the skills that I do have. So all of my skills that I learned and things that I went all the way in were just experiences that allowed me to have the tool set, both mentally with problem solving, but also physical skills that allow me to do the job the way I do them now. So I think not necessarily getting a specific skill for a specific, so I'll get into this job. It's certainly a great idea, but there's a lot to be said for learning skills because you can build your tool set and just grow as a person, because a really fleshed out person is an excellent candidate in any field. And as you can see, you may just end up working in any field. So it'd be a great idea to just have some good skills all around.
Avram, any last words of wisdom?
I didn't really have anything, I suppose, but I guess the one that I did answer in the chat, I feel like one of the most valuable skills any engineer can learn, or at least anyone with an or who wants that engineering mindset, is learning how to learn. Conceptually understanding the logic behind learning and improving upon them. Because you're not gonna, if you just learn something and you just keep at it for a while, it eventually, a lot with how our world is today, knowledge and information changes very quickly. The skills, technical skills seem to change very quickly. So learning how to learn different things is important. Meta learning.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I could say I've gained a lot of skills at this job that are specific to this job that I didn't even have or thought I could do before. So being open to learning new things. I mean, there's even a software that we got about a month ago that we're all learning how to do. So it's not you'll learn a lot of skills and then you're set. That you have to remain willing to learn new things, because I mean, Avram said it that even the jobs themselves will continue changing over time.
Yeah, so part of it is be curious, right? Feed your curiosity, and you never know what that skill set, or especially if it's something you're interested in, it's not going to be wasted time, right? So I think of that. Okay, so I'm getting in the Q&A some thank yous for you all. We have a couple more minutes. If anybody has any last minute questions, we can do that. Other than that, I really, Mason, Avram, I just really want to express my deep appreciation for you guys kicking off this series. This is the very first one. So as I said to you earlier, you are sort of our guinea pigs for this, and I appreciate you doing that. And thanks so much to Exus for agreeing to go this path with us, and we'll be doing other types of positions at Exus in the series to follow after the first of the year. So for the students out there, Exus was also kind enough to allow us to record this. So if you have, I know we had some comments back from some other students saying, hey, I got a class conflict, or I had some other conflict, like to attend. So we will be making this the recording available to students who couldn't make it live and in person. So we appreciate that Exus was willing to do that as well. So thanks for taking the time to join us today, and I hope that this was useful. I certainly, and I'm an older guy. I've been around for a while. I certainly took a lot away from this that I wasn't expecting. So, thank you again, and everybody have a great day. See ya.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much.